Alright you lot, buckle up, cause today we're diving into glorious chaos of gaming hypocrisy, with players at real endgame bosses. You know drill, someone always has something to say, even when they can't be bothered to think it through. Today we're dissecting real Gemma comment, kind that reminds you not all heroes wear capes. Some type with crayons. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe and all that bollocks. It helps the channel grow and keeps me ranting. And trust me, we've got a lot to rant about today. Alright, let's get straight into it. This twonk of the week comment from someone who clearly spent more time learning how to spell ironic than understanding what it means. Now, Twonky reckons I'm guilty at same crime I call out in others. Complaining about complainers, he says. Hypocrisy, he says. A vicious circle, he says. Although I'm fairly certain he meant vicious cycle, but who's keeping score? Oh wait, me. First off, Twonk, let me explain something very slowly so even you can keep up. Pointing out hypocrisy isn't the same as being hypocritical. It's like calling out a clown for tripping over their oversized shoes. It don't make me clown, it makes me person who's not face planting into the ground. I'm highlighting out same players who lose their minds over bugs and matchmaking issues in X-Defiant at first to defend exactly same problems in Call of Duty like it's Holy Grail or FPS. And what's worse, they act like COD's been bug-free since dawn of time. Spoiler alert, it ain't. Now about your little conspiracy theory takedown. I said skill-based damage were a load of bollocks, and if you'd taken a moment to actually watch video, you'd know that I also explained how it's bad netcode, hit registration and latency issues. I did call out community's tendency to slap a new label on something and pretend they've discovered Rosetta Stone of gaming bugs. Skylanders patents? Mate, that's got about as much relevance to this conversation as me bringing up Jet Set Willy loading screen. And let's talk about your desperate jab at X-Defiant being a dying game. Oh, bless your little COD-loving heart. You're clinging to the idea that any game daring to step into arena with COD is doomed from start. Meanwhile, X-Defiant's out here actually listening to its community, fixing issues and focusing on skill-based gameplay instead of pandering to the lowest common denominator. But sure, keep convincing yourself that Call of Duty's annual reskin gold standard. Whatever helps you sleep at night, champ. So Twonk, before you hit post on your next comment, here's a little advice. Stop trying to win arguments with words you don't fully understand like ironic. It's not ironic that I point out bad behaviour while refusing to tolerate it. It's called having standards. And right now, you could do with setting yours a little higher. Still with me? Or have I used too many big words? If not, stick around, there's plenty more where that came from. Let's move on to some actual points about gaming world that don't involve making myself dumber by responding to you. Alright, now we've sufficiently roasted Twonk and his dictionary of misunderstandings, let's shift gears and talk about actual state of gaming communities. Because let's face it, they're often about as functional as a chocolate teapot at a bonfire. We've all seen it, players whining louder than a broken gearbox about bugs, exploits or matchmaking. Fair enough, feedback's important, but the moment dev team actually does something about it, suddenly those same players are outraged that their playstyle were nerfed. It's like moaning about your toast being burnt and then crying when someone scrapes off black bits cause now it's not same. Make it make sense. Take X-Defiant for example. Ubisoft's actually been proactive, fixing issues and listening to its community. You know, that thing that gamers always claim devs don't do. But what happens? Same lot who beg for changes now sit there saying, game feels different, I liked it better broken. Meanwhile, over in Call of Duty, Activision's stuffing another battle pass down your throat while leaving game-breaking glitches in place for 6 months. And yet people defend them like it's a toxic relationship they can't escape. Stockholm Syndrome, but we overprice weapon skins. Now here's the thing about these communities. X-Defiant and COD fans alike, they share one big glaring flaw, short-term memory loss. They scream for innovation, but if you gear mold that's not carbon copy of what they're used to, they panic like a cat in a swimming pool. You can't demand something fresh and then get upset when it doesn't taste exactly like your stale leftovers from last night. Let's talk matchmaking while we're at it, since it's apparently hot topic. Everyone hates engagement optimized matchmaking, right? You know, one designed to keep you playing longer by alternating between matches where you're a god and ones where you're spawn-killed victim of Satan's finest. And yet instead of rallying against it, players argue over who's to blame, when real culprit is big publishers, who are more interested in your time spent in game than your actual experience. But gamers won't unite to call that art because they're too busy comparing kill-death ratios like the bloody life savings. So where does that leave us? In middle of a vicious cycle. Yeah, twonk. Cycle, not circle, where players complain, devs fix, and then players complain about fix. It's exhausting. And yet we're all here, still grinding through madness, cause deep down we're addicted to chaos. But here's a thought for you. Maybe, just maybe, if gaming communities stop treating every minor inconvenience like end up bloody world, developers could focus on making games better instead of firefighting 24/7. Wild concept, innit? Now let's peel back curtain and expose puppet masters behind this circus we call gaming. That's right, we're talking about big boys, publishers. Those corporate overlords who'd sell you your own soul back if they could fit in a microtransaction. Here's the thing, most of the stuff we complain about, broken matchmaking, absurd grind mechanics, overpriced cosmetics, it's not developers being lazy or clueless. It's publishers pulling strings, orchestrating whole mess like some sinister conductor with a budget spreadsheet instead of a baton. And worst part, it's all by design. Take engagement optimized matchmaking for example. You know what drill? You have one god tier match where you're racking up kills like John Wick, and then suddenly you're thrown into a sweat fest against players who treat game like it's an Olympic qualifier. Why? Because system ain't designed to give you fair, balanced matches, it's designed to keep you playing. Publishers know that alternating highs and lows keep you hooked longer than either constant domination or endless defeat. It's like a slot machine. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you always pull lever again. And then there's grind. Oh, the grind. Who remembers when unlocking stuff in a game actually felt like an achievement? Now it's less you've earned it, and more you've played for 200 hours or bought our £19.99 time saver pack. Spoiler, publishers don't want you to feel satisfied. Satisfaction means you might stop playing. Now they want you chasing next unlock like hamster on a wheel, desperately trying to fill that void they've created in your gaming experience. Let's not forget microtransactions. They've evolved from optional extras to backbone of industry, turning full-price games into bloody storefronts. And yet, people keep buying them, because publishers have perfected the art of making you feel you need that weapon skin or XP boost to keep up. It's psychological manipulation at its finest, and it works like a charm. But here's kicker, these publishers aren't just exploiting your wallet, they're exploiting your time too. Every delay in matchmaking, every frustrating grind, every overpriced skin is meticulously crafted to wring more hours out of your life. Why? Because more time you spend in the game, more chances they have to shove another battle pass, loot box or DLC pack in your face. So what can we do about it? Honestly, not much. As long as people keep falling for these tricks, publishers will keep using them. But we can start calling out real culprits instead of throwing devs under the bus every time something goes wrong. Developers at once trying to make good games. Publishers at once turning these games into slot machines. Let's get cerebral. We're diving into dirty psychological tactics publishers use to keep you hooked. Frustrated and forking over cash like you're playing Monopoly with a toddler who owns alt railroads. Spoiler alert, they're not just designing games, they're designing you. It's first dirty trick, dopamine manipulation. Publishers know your brain loves a good hit of that feel-good chemical. Every kill streak, every level up, every shiny loot drop, it's all engineered to keep your brain bathing in dopamine. But here's catch. They don't let you stay there for long. They crank up difficulty, slow down progression, and give you just enough bad matches to make those victories feel like rare treasure. It's carrot and a stick routine, except stick is a £10 XP booster. Then there's FOMO, fear of missing out. Ever notice how every battle pass or event is timed? That's not coincidence. Publishers love a ticking clock because it triggers a primal part of your brain that screams, if I don't grind now, I'll lose it forever. It's artificial urgency at its finest, designed to keep you online for hours, chasing rewards that, let's be honest, you won't even care about in 6 months. But in the moment, you'd swear your life depends on unlocking that rare skin a 4 timer at 0. And let's talk about artificial frustration. This one's subtle but deadly. Publishers deliberately design certain parts of games to feel slow, tedious, or unfair, then swoop in with a solution. Struggling with progression? Buy an XP booster. Can't seem to win matches? Maybe this shiny weapon will turn tide. They're not selling you products. They're selling you relief from problems they created. It's like a dodgy builder that smashes your window and then charges you to fix it. But wait, there's more. Variable rewards. This is slot machine tactic, plain and simple. Ever notice how randomized drops or even post-game rewards have that little flash of excitement even when you don't get what you wanted? That's no accident. Publishers have turned games into gambling machines, feeding just enough near misses to keep you hooked. Sure, you didn't get legendary item this time, but you got a rare one. So close! Might as well try again. And finally, we have social proof. Ever see your friends showing off latest skin, title, or badge? That's not just good marketing, that's peer pressure, wrapped in pixel. Publishers know that when you see someone else rocking latest cosmetics, you'll feel urged to get it too. After all, no one wants to be default skin in a lobby full of premium outfits. It's not just about gameplay anymore, it's about status. So what's takeaway here? It's simple. Publishers aren't just selling games, they're selling habits. They're not just making you want to play, they're making you feel you need to play. And they're doing it by hijacking same psychological triggers that keep gamblers glued to slot machines and shoppers hooked on sales. Now let's crank heat up another notch. It's time to talk about how these manipulative tactics aren't just messing with players, they're flat out warping games themselves. Industry is so tangled in monetization schemes and engagement tactics, it's barely recognisable anymore. Let's take a hard look on how publishers are holding gaming hostage. First up, lazy design disguised as content. Remember when games were crafted with love, care, and a clear endgame? Now it's all about stretching out experience so they can milk every possible second and money out of you. Instead of giving us handcrafted levels or meaningful progression systems, we get endless grind loops padded with fetch quests and copy-paste objectives. It's not content, it's filler, and it's designed to keep you clocking in like it's your second job. Then with battle passes and seasonal models. Now on surface, these might seem like a great way to keep games fresh. New challenges, new rewards. But peel back shiny exterior and you'll see real goal, turning every game into an always online service. By drip feeding content, publishers keep you chained to the servers, ensuring you don't stray too far, or worse, play something else. And if you miss a season, too bad. That FOMO kicks in, and suddenly you're back on grind. Then there's death or innovation. Why risk making something groundbreaking when recycled ideas still sell? That's why we get endless sequels, remakes and reskins instead of bold new IPs. It's all about bottom line. Innovation is risky, milking a known formula is safe. Call of Duty, FIFA, Assassin's Creed, big franchises aren't evolving. They're just putting on new coats of paint and calling it a day. And we're letting them get away with it because deep down, we're too comfortable to demand better. And let's not forget prioritisation of whales of a community. You know who I'm talking about. Those big spenders who drop hundreds or even thousands on skins, loot boxes and premium passes. Publishers don't care if 90% of player base is frustrated and burnt out so long as whales keep cash flowing. Balancing gameplay? Fixing bugs? Who needs that when a handful of wallets are single-handedly funding next fiscal quarter? Finally, let's talk about game design dictated by monetization. This is a big one. Features aren't added because they make games fun anymore. They're added because they make games profitable. Why else do you think you see RNG loot systems, artificially slow progression, or limited time events? It's not about crafting best experience, it's about crafting most lucrative experience. They're turning art into spreadsheets, and we're one's paying price. So where does that leave us? In an industry where games are no longer designed to be great, they're designed to be profitable first. Love, creativity, passion that once defined gaming are being squeezed out in favour of shallow systems meant to maximise shareholder returns. And worst part? It's working because we keep playing, buying and grinding. Now it's time to shine a spotlight on unsung heroes at the industry, indie developers and studios fighting tooth and nail to bring passion, creativity and actual fun back to gaming. Let's start with indie devs, lifeblood of gaming's soul. These are folks making games in the basements, garages and tiny studios fueled by caffeine, ramen and pure unadulterated passion. Without billion-dollar budgets, these developers rely on ideas instead of predatory monetization schemes. They're not trying to milk your wallets. They're trying to make you smile, cry, or stay up until 3 AM yelling, "Just one more level!" Take games like Hades or Celeste. These weren't made with battle passes, loot boxes, or 15 layers of RNG. They were crafted with a focus on gameplay, storytelling, and mechanics that just work. And guess what? They're bloody brilliant. People love them because they're fun, not because they tricked you into spending 20 quid on a skin for your sword. And then there's mid-tier studios, ones who could easily sell out to big publishers but instead choose to swim against current. Look at Larian Studios, folks behind Baldur's Gate 3. They could have taken easy route, cut game into pieces, slapped on a season pass and added microtransactions for dice skins. But no, they delivered a complete, polished game that respects players' time and intelligence. What a concept, eh? But let's not romanticize indie and mid-tier devs too much, because they're up against some brutal odds. Big publishers dominate market, storefronts, and conversation. Indies have to fight tooth and nail for visibility, relying on word of mouth, grassroots support, and occasionally viral TikTok to get noticed. And still, despite odds, they're managing to thrive because gamers are starting to wake up. You see, as much as AAA publishers try to drown us in grindfest and overpriced cosmetics, there's a growing demand for real gaming experiences. Players are tired of being treated like walking wallets. They want stories that matter, gameplay that challenges them, and worlds that feel alive, not endless checklists disguised as content. And indie scene is stepping up to fill that gap. But here's where you come in, you magnificent lot. Supporting these devs isn't about buying the games, it's about spreading word. Write reviews, share the trailers, tell your mates about that amazing little game you found on Steam. Because every little bit of support chips away at dominance of corporate giants and shows that there's still a place for games made with love. Now then, we've come to grand finale, closing chapter at final boss. But don't expect a cheesy credit roll. We're ending this with a call to arms. Gaming is ours, and it's time we took it back. Here's the deal. Everything we talked about, manipulative tactics, lazy design, corporate greed, it's not going to stop unless we stop feeding beast. Publishers keep pulling these stunts because we keep letting them. Every microtransaction we buy, every grind, every battle pass we complete, every time we shrug and say, well, that's just how it is, we're giving them green light to keep ruining industry we love. But we're not powerless. Beauty of gaming has always been its community, and when that community stands up, things change. Look at what happened with Star Wars Battlefront 2. EA tried to shove in loot box systems so predatory it made payday lenders look generous, and backlash was so loud they had to rip system out. That won't cost a few angry tweets. That will cost gamers united and said, not on our watch. So here's your mission. Stop settling. Demand better. Support devs and studios that are doing things right, whether it's indie gems or AAA anomalies like CD Projekt Red bouncing back with Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. Push back against corporate nonsense. Speak out. Vote with your wallet. Because every time you choose quality over convenience, passion over greed, you're sending a message. And don't underestimate power of your voice. Got a favourite indie game? Shout about it. Is a big publisher pulling some shady nonsense? Call them out. Hell, if you're feeling ambitious, start creating yourself, whether it's mods, content, or even your own bloody game. Gaming belongs to people who care about it, not suits looking at profit margins. Let's make this clear. This ain't about games, it's about culture of gaming, thing we've all built together. It's about keeping that alive, free from shackles of spreadsheets and focus groups, because gaming ain't just a product, it's an escape, a passion, a way of life. So smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave your comments and questions below. I might just feature them on channel, but more importantly, be part of this movement. Don't just play games, help shape future of them. And with that, I'll see you next time, you magnificent